Welcome to Determined to Succeed. I'm your host, Dawn Mullarney, also known as Unique Connector, and I'm so excited to have Lisa on today. And Lisa, I want to kick it off today of what made you write a book about joy?
Well, I laugh because I feel like that's a common question that I get, and it makes me smile every time because it actually came from not joy. My husband
Mm.
and I, like about, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, we were sitting on the couch, and it was one of those days where I just remember being exhausted, like almost to the point where we're just being zombies watching television. And I was like, we chase a lot of things, like our kids and the house and our jobs. And not only do we chase it, but we like schedule it. And, we've got things on the calendar for every single thing, but fun, but joy.
Yeah.
And so that's really where it started. And he kind of looked at me and was like, you're not wrong. Right. And it was like, well, what if we chase something else? What if we chase joy? What if we make joy our job and we schedule that? And so, like, to make a long story longer, I went to Home Depot and I bought a whiteboard and we hung it in our bedroom. And I said, honey, can you just like put it right here, right next to our bed? And he's like, people don't have whiteboards in their bedroom. And I'm like, we do. And I was like, but hear me out. We talked about creating more joy and we need a list. Like, let's get a list of things that we used to do or we want to do or we're dreaming to do. And sometimes the only time that we have together is right before we fall asleep. So I want to dream about
Mhm.
joy before bed and I want to wake up and I want to see that list in the morning and I want to get going on chasing joy. And that's really kind of why it started. And I always say, like, I'm a bubbly numbers girl. Like, I love like return on investment. And when I think about what it did for us is starting to think about, okay, what could we do and where could we put it? It was like return on investment, the like money in the bank, really. And now we track our joy. And so that's what the book's really kind of about, is this idea that joy is your job. If you wait for it to find you, you might wait forever.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. It's like sometimes those simple things we ignore in life, but we know it could really help fill our cup up or will bring such a big investment back to us.
Absolutely.
And that's where I always kind of giggle too. I'm like trying to think of like, how did we even meet? But I'm like, we met years ago virtually and we still have never
Yeah.
even met in person. And I've always been just so intrigued by you, or two, you always bring joy to me, where I like remember you even telling me like, yeah, we really try and bring joy to everything we do in life. And I remember you even saying like, we have a sock party now when we
Yeah.
like match socks, when we have to do laundry.
Yeah. I know. Well, and I feel like sometimes you let it, like, it's like the bottom of the list. This last year, I have really been working on working out, and I feel like it's been a habit that I wait till everything else is in order and
Mhm.
then I'll work out. And I think that's what I was doing with joy all those years ago, was like, once we get the promotion, once we buy the house, once we have our jobs, like then we will have joy. But it was like every time we got the thing, something else came and was like right in its way. And so, like this year for me, I've been really moving it up on the priority list to say, okay, I've made joy my job, but I also want that to include a little bit of working out and getting fit. And so it's that priority and also a little bit of permission of just saying, like,
Mm.
it's okay. Like, it's absolutely okay to make joy your job.
Yeah. And even as you reflect back now, when you did that joy whiteboard on your wall, could you have even imagined it to be what it is now, when you first started that
Yeah.
whiteboard to what it is now, bringing joy into your life?
No, I think it was like a mini experiment to see, could we do it? And, could we almost like, life is really short. So why are we making
Mhm.
all these other things a priority? And so it was like a little experiment. I could have never dreamed that I would be so passionate about it, to be like, you should too. We started a joy list and then we moved it into like an official calendar. And then
Mhm.
now we kind of keep track of our joy, and we basically call it a joy calendar. And so then some of our family and friends were like, well, we want one. And I was like, oh, like this silly little experiment that really changed our lives. Like, yeah, sure, that would be great. And I think that was the signal of like, you could actually take this out into the world and people will not think that you're completely crazy. I mean, they might, and they might still, but it's an amazing ride to see it kind of grow and grow and grow.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the thing too. It's like showing that positivity and helping people think differently. And, for you even too, what's something that kind of keeps you in the positive and to really find the joy when there are the challenges in life?
Yeah. We call it, so I write a little section in the book, but it's called crappy to happy. And
Mhm.
so I often work with teams and I do a lot of like coaching, and I will say, what are the biggest like pains in your butt? Biggest pains in your butt, kind of like that crappy, like unglamorous stuff that we all have, whether it's like for me, it's laundry and dishes and housework at home. And then
Mhm.
when you think about like work, maybe it's like reporting or an Excel spreadsheet or the budget, right? Whatever is kind of your pain. And then I say, well, what if you could take crappy to happy? And you could infuse something joyful, either like right before, during, or right after. And I would say, like, there's a lot of crappy in life, like hard,
Yeah.
icky, yucky stuff. And so, like, if we ignore those portions of our lives and say, well, it's crappy, it can't be happy and crappy, we're missing a whole bunch of like real estate in our lives. And so that's what we do. And think about, whether it's, I worked in a clinic for a long time and I had a front desk person, and I would always go up and I'd be like, crappy to happy. And she's like, all right, Lisa, I got about 200 phone calls to make. And I'm like, all
Mm.
right, what are you going to do? And she goes, well, I think after I make all of these phone calls, I'm going to run to Starbucks, because we had one in our building. And I was like, that's right, crappy to happy. And she goes, let's do this. And she kind of fist bumped me and I walked away, and I was like, yeah, it's that mindset shift of it can be both. And sometimes
Yeah.
like it's your job to just reposition yourself and say, but if I look at it from this angle, it could be a little happy in addition to the crappy. So that's my
Yeah.
biggest advice.
Well, and I think that's the one thing that a lot of people just need to take a moment to reflect of just, there are good things that come out of bad, as the
Yep.
pandemic. I feel like so many people had so many life learning lessons, of course, but also too, it's just like enjoy the life. Why be
Yeah.
crabby or why not have fun with it? Yes, it's not all going to be perfect and not all
Mhm.
roses. Um, and that's the part that I always have kind of giggled too of like you just like the ripple effect because I do think of that. And that's where I think even, when you come back to even the beginning of when you started your business, what drove you to start it, but then also too the ripple effect that it has created on so many people.
I hope. It's funny. I grew up in healthcare, did a lot of like project management, and then I moved into people management, just to give you a sense of like, for maybe there's someone out there that's thinking, well, I could never do that. And I'm like,
Hmm.
but maybe. And so I moved from a very like protocol driven place because it's like we were saving people's lives. And so when I left, I thought, okay. And my husband really encouraged me. He's like, get your business going. And a little part of me was like, what business? Like, what would this look like? So I thought I was going to do leadership training for healthcare. And then about 5 months into my business, COVID hit. And I was like, healthcare is kind of busy right now.
Yeah.
They're not going to do any leadership training. And so for me, I was like, okay, crappy to happy. What makes me happy? What fills me up? And part of that was connection. So I now tell people I'm on a mission to connect with 1 million people. And
Hmm.
it's the most amazing journey I've ever gone on. And I save a portion of my week, usually like Monday afternoons and Thursday afternoons. And I just get to almost have virtual or in-person coffee with amazing souls. And that for me was my way of saying, how do I take a situation that I can't control and
Mm.
just do the thing that I'm good at and I enjoy? And it's been so interesting because I've met people all over the world, and like 6 months later, they're like, hey, Lisa, I got a question. Or they're like, hey, Lisa, have you heard of this? They really have become that foundation to getting new clients and meeting more people. Yeah, that's really where it kind of started. My tagline for my business is have good ripple effect. And the idea is that everything you say and do is a ripple, happy or crappy, your choice. And
Hmm.
meanwhile, so that was like in my work world that I was saying that to my teams. And then in my personal life, I was saying, joy is our job. And so I think the two have now just collided. And I always say that your ripple effect should include joy. Like it should include some impact where you make a difference, but it should include joy too, because why in the heck are we on this big rock of earth to not make a difference and have a little fun doing it?
Yeah. Well, and I love too how your business has evolved. And now you're even hosting these big events and where you're holding space for people to
Yeah.
come together and kind of have a community of people. And that's the part that I think has always been so intriguing, where I've seen you kind of through the
Yeah.
journey and kind of, pivoted or tried new things, or two, just done stuff that's you've dreamt of. I remember even talking to you the one day where you're like, I think I want to write a book. And I was like, okay, well, let's do this. Let me see this. And then you did it, and that's
Yeah.
the cool part. It's even sitting next to me right now.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
yeah. Well, and so talk to me even too about the premise behind events, because I think so many people are hesitant to try things that they don't really know, but it could be something. And now look
Yeah.
at what it's become even.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I focused on was almost like if you had a blank sheet of paper, I go to the bottom and I write, what do I want people to leave with? Like, what is it that
Mm-hmm.
I want them to get out of it? And then I backtrack from there. So if it's, I want them to leave with a plan for joy. If I want them to leave with a plan for impact, I kind of start there and then I work backwards and I think about, okay, so if this is what I want to get out of it, and then I go to almost to the top of the piece of paper and I'm like, who are the people in the world? And I often will ask people, what's your heartburn? Like, what's your biggest challenge you've got right now? And if they're
Mm-hmm.
saying, Lisa, I'm just burnt out. Lisa, I am so overwhelmed. Lisa, I am so stressed. Like, I write down verbatim what they tell me on a sheet of paper. I'm like stressed, burnt out. And I collect almost all the thoughts and the feelings out in the world. And then I'm like, okay, do the thoughts and the feelings that people are experiencing, do they match what I'm going to give them? And if the answer is yes, then I'm like, get out there and do it. Now, my first event was really small. I held it at a beer hall because my friend let me use her facility for free. And it wasn't fancy. And I learned so many things. And it just kind of became a snowball. And now I've had, I think, like 8 or 9 of them. I have a mini one tomorrow with students.
Mm-hmm.
So I would encourage anyone that's out there to just give some thought to, yeah, what are people craving and what do you want to give them? And if you've got a good case for it on your sheet, then say, well, let's try it out. And I always say, live in the lab, like put on your lab goggles and your beaker. And if it explodes, you're like, well, it was an experiment. And then
Yeah.
you'll learn something and you'll do another one and you'll be like, next time we're going to add more vanilla, right? It
Yeah.
just, yeah, you learn a lot.
Well, and I think that's the part too where I've just learned a lot from you too over the times of getting to know you, of like, why not just try it? And if it
Yeah.
brings me joy, great, try it. If it
Yeah.
fails a little, it still brought you joy, right? You learned from it, you had
Oh,
fun,
yeah.
mix it up and try something different. And I think that's been even for me as I reflect on this past year of just trying things. Who knows what will stick
Yeah.
or what people
I would
need.
say the other thing too is like I approached a couple of people like right in the beginning of my journey and said, hey, do you want to do this with me? And they were like, I don't know. So don't be afraid to have some people say like, no, like, I don't think so. Cause I was like, okay, it's not for them. It wasn't
Mhm.
anything like related to me. It was just like it wasn't their bag of tea. And so just be ready. I always say no is not a no. No is a pivot. You're like, okay, not for you. Okay, what about over here? Okay, not for you. Okay, what about over here? And that allowed me a lot of grace to be like, this won't be for everyone, nor should it.
Mhm.
So, like being able to just kind of pivot a little bit always helps too.
Yeah. Well, and I love that. And I think too, just for you, now that you've pivoted and you've had a book, you know, I just am like, I wish I would have looked up my notes to see when you told me I'm thinking about writing a book,
Yeah,
where to now you've done it.
I
And this is where
know.
too, I'm so excited for you to see like the next steps and all the things that you're even dreaming up or thinking like, what could bring me more joy even? And I
Yeah.
think that's the fun part about it, where it's like, you keep adding more or you keep trying things or adding a little bit of zest. I think
Yeah.
of too when you're saying the lab or muffins or whatnot you're creating, but like you're adding a little more zest each time. And so
Yeah.
even from the book, that was a big challenge. That's a big feat to create a book. Like,
Yeah.
tell me more of too, even like going through that process, trying to bring joy into it, but then also what's the next steps so people
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
are listening could maybe follow you on your journey.
Yeah, that's a great question. So it was funny because I'm not a writer. Like I don't sit down and just like journal every day and have all these like magical writing moments. But I was like, I feel like I have something to say. I have something to say
Mm,
about joy. So I worked with a book coach And she was great because what she led me through was really, we did a little bit of brainstorming, and then she's like, okay, you've got some good topics. So she's like, sit down every morning and write. And then about 2 weeks later, she's like, how's it going? And I'm like, well, it's not. And she's like, she kind of smiled and she's like, I'm not surprised. And a little part of me was like, what, like my defensive, like, what are you saying? And then she goes, you're a speaker. Speak it. So I downloaded a transcription app, and I actually took my topic list and I spoke it into Otter, is the name of the app that I used. And I would just start a recording and I would be like, today I want to talk about what gets in the way of joy. I'm tired. I'm stressed and blah, blah, blah. And I would just speak it, and I would get like 15, 20 minutes of speaking. And then I'd be done and I'd go off to be doing things with my kids or my family. And then a few days later, I'd be like, and now we're talking about, what is joy? Like, how do we get it? And so I spoke the entire book and didn't actually lay pen to paper. And it was the best decision, because I think I'd still be like erasing what I wrote back and forth.
Yeah.
Had I left my own devices.
Ooh, I hope the listeners are listening to that, because I think that's the thing sometimes where we think of like, I'm not a writer. This is going to be my hurdle. I'm never going to get it done. I'm going to overthink it. But like, I love how you're being creative. And two,
Yeah.
you are a speaker. And that's the part too, where the magic probably wouldn't be in the book if you wrote it, too.
Right.
Like, you're bringing your magic from your voice. And that's the thing that some people need to find. What is your magic and how can you showcase it? So I'm so proud of you, Lisa.
Thank
and this
you.
is so exciting to see you and keep continuing to like ripple effect with so many people. I appreciate you and your friendship, and excited to see you keep growing. So I hope the listeners connect with you and follow you and check out the book too. Maybe we got to start our own little book club. So
I know, right? That would be great.
Bring more joy to all of us. So yeah, I appreciate you. Yes. Well, thank you for joining me on the show, Lisa. And I hope you have a great ripple effect today.
Thank you. Thank you.